I call it my amendment 1364 and ask that it be reported by number.
The clerk will report by number.
Senator from Utah, Mr. Romney, proposes amendment number 1364 to amendment number 891.
I ask unanimous consent for 4 minutes of debate, equally divided.
Without objection.
Madam President, I actually believe that we make better legislation if we have two parties work together on something. In this case, we've crafted a piece of legislation that our party hasn't had any involvement in whatsoever. We tried. We went to the White House, and the president was very gracious in welcoming us and listening to us, but did not accept any of our proposals. And so we have before us today a piece of legislation that has the benefit only of one party. There's some errors in that and some things I think we really have to look at and try and fix. One of them is with regards to states and localities. At the time the president put his bill out there, there was an assumption that states had massive losses associated with the COVID experience. But the data that's come out since then has shown that, in fact, the states did not have those kinds of losses. Many states did not. 21 states are seeing rising revenue. States like Florida don't need more money. Oklahoma doesn't need more money. My state of Utah doesn't need more money. California has record surpluses, billions of dollars in surplus. And yet, under this legislation, California itself, at the state level, gets $26 billion more. And in total, with its localities, it gets $41 billion. This is on top of their already surplus year. Think about that. We're going to be asking the American people to allow us to borrow money from China and others, pass that on to our kids and grandkids, so that we can send money to states like California and mine and others that don't need the money. This doesn't make any sense at all. So my amendment does a very simple thing. It says, look, you can spend all the money that the president's plan suggests in the way they suggest it, but each state's amount is limited by the amount of their revenue loss, meaning the gap that they had from 2019 to 2020 and then 2021, as well as any COVID expenses, as well as any Medicaid expenses that grew. So just limit it by how much they need it. That's all it does. So I ask that people on both sides of the aisle just get behind this so that we can save probably at least $100 billion to keep money from going to states and localities that don't actually need it. Thank you, Madam President.
Madam President.
Senator from Oregon.
I rise in opposition to the Romney amendment. First, colleagues, this amendment would be a drastic cut to the relief in the bill. And specifically, it would limit the number of firefighters, municipal workers, and teachers who would actually get their jobs back in the coming weeks and months. Second, the amendment doesn't take into account the full impact the pandemic has had on state budgets and the costs that they are going to continue to incur in the months ahead. Our view is this is just the wrong time to start in hacking away at state and local funding because the job losses are stacking up. And as we have heard again and again from independent economists, those losses are going to continue if the Senate doesn't go big as this bill does. Saving jobs and rehiring laid-off workers is what this portion of the bill is all about. So, colleagues, I would strongly urge a no vote on the Romney amendment, and I yield.
Madam President, may I respond?
Senator from
First of all, those states I described didn't lay people off. They didn't lay off firefighters. They didn't lay off teachers. They've held their teachers. They've held their firefighters. My state has actually paid bonuses to teachers and to state workers. They've got so much money coming in. You see, COVID and the pandemic did not hit all the states in the same way. So states that need more money, give them more money. I'm happy to do that. But states like mine and Florida and Oklahoma, Texas, California, they don't need more money. Why are we borrowing more money and sending on the burden of debt and interest payments to our kids and grandkids to send money to states that don't need it? And by the way, we're talking about states that don't have deficits. They have surpluses. and all of their COVID expenses would be reimbursed under the proposal that I make. There's no COVID expense that is not reimbursed.